of our Filipino culture together. Last time, we looked at how Filipinos adorn themselves using gold, makeup, tattoos, and accessories. Ngayon naman, usapang fashion tayo. Specifically, usapang Habing.
Sa lahat ng bansa sa Southeast Asia, ang Pilipinas ang isa sa pinakamaraming katutubong habi o indigenous weaving traditions with techniques like ikat, tapestry weave, embroidery, and all sorts of ornamentation.
So join me on this episode of Kultura 101 with Kat. Habing Pinoy is my style.
Let's begin our survey of Philippine indigenous weaves in the north. In Pinili, the hometown of Gawad Manlilikha ng Bayan awardee, Magdalene Gamayo. Abel is the sturdy, simple cotton weave that Apo Magdalena is famous for. She learned the process of weaving as a young girl. Using the 4-petal loom, Apo Magdalena is able to produce the old designs that Ilocos Abel is famous for. The most famous of these is the whirlwind or binakol pattern.
Grabe ang binakol. Pag tiningnan mo ng malipitan, you can see that it is a pure study of geometry and mathematics. Ang kahanga-hanga dito is that you can just imagine how much technique, discipline, mindfulness, and physical control goes into creating a textile such as this, not on your traditional 2-petal loom, but a 4-petal loom. Ang galing, no?
Remember that the layout of the threads on the loom will eventually spell out the plan design. So, mano-mano ang paglatag ng mga sinulid. Also, di basta-bastang habi na lang ng habi. Kailangan nakabalanse ang pressure ng katawan sa loom. Kung hindi, mapapatid ang mga sinulid. Most impressive of all, walang computer na gumawa ng template or prototype ng design. Nasa utak ito ni Apo Magdalena at ng lahat ng mga weavers.
Let's move to the neighboring province of Abra, home to the Tinggian or Itneg. The Ilocanos and the Tinggian have shared many weaving traditions, but one interesting practice is the use of natural dye.
Indigo, yes, the same indigo used in our blue jeans is now being revived and used in the Tinggian weaving industry. The indigo that they use is an organic, plant-based dye. It takes a lot of work to produce these precious blue dyes. Another interesting aspect is the use of embroidery in their blankets. Designs that were once used in ritual textiles are now being reproduced by the Tinggian themselves for more decorative commercial purposes. And we're seeing these in face masks and in modern clothes that are being made by the Tinggian.
So do you guys remember the amazing Gaddang accessories that I showed you in our first episode? Well, if they could create such finely crafted accessories, they could also weave the perfect textile to adorn with beautiful beads.
Although the striped Gaddang textiles seem plain, but wait until they add the beads all over and everywhere. So aside from just weaving, the Gaddang women are also master beaders who can work tiny beads into their clothes. Filipinas who use their bodies, minds, and memories to create heirloom textiles for use in everyday life. And something that really struck me is that weaving is the power of a woman, of a Filipina, not just in northern Luzon, but everywhere in the Philippines. When it comes to a versatile clothing, nothing beats the malong of Mindanao. This tubular skirt is unisex and is also multifunctional. Aside from functioning as a wrap skirt, it is also a baby carrier, a blanket, a sunshade, and even a carrying case for food and other necessities.
Ang daling isuot, you step in, tie it at the waist or at the shoulders. Ang daming pwedeng i-improvise. Of course, there are the ordinary cotton malong for everyday wear, but the most luxurious ones in silk are woven by the Maranao and the Maguindanao people.
Yes, they even used to grow their own silk, and they developed many techniques to decorate these malong. Each color combination, each design motif had its own meaning and denoted the status of those who wore them. The Maranao even developed a dance that showed off the many ways in which the malong was worn. This was the kapamalong malong. Here, both men and women showed just how versatile the malong is.
So do you guys remember when I told you about the time that I went to Lake Cebu and visited and experienced the art and culture of the Tiboli? Well, I will never forget about how I was able to wear their amazing ensembles, and of course, that was complete with all the accessories. It was actually in Lake Cebu that I got acquainted with another Mindanao weaving tradition, abaca, ikat.
Abaca? Yes, the same abaca that makes rope is the same fiber used to make these precious fabrics. It is a very difficult process, and it begins from harvesting the abaca plant and then stripping it to get the fibers. These fibers are then dried. Ikat refers to the tie and dye process. It is complicated, but try to follow me. It begins with a design in the weaver's head. She translates this design into a series of tied portions which, when woven, will reveal the design she imagined. After the fibers are tied, they are dyed. That means that the portions covered in string won't be covered. These fibers are then set up on the loom so that the partial design becomes visible. By the way, the loom used here is a very different type from the ones that you saw in Ilocos region. This is the backstrap loom. It is hard kasi sakto lang dapat ang control and balance ng weaver when she works. It is only when the weaver begins to weave that the full design is revealed.
Remember that there was no template to copy from. Nasa utak lang ng weaver lahat. And so you can imagine the immense level of skill and technique it takes to take a concept and create a finished textile. Amazing!
The Gawad Manlilikha ng Bayan has been given to outstanding women who have been able to preserve the art of abaca ikat. There is Lang Dulay,
Atiboli, and Salinta Monon, Abagogo Tagabawa.
both have already passed on. But luckily, a new ikat weaver has been added to the roster. She is Bay Yabing Dulo, a Blaan weaver who is more than 100 years old and still actively weaving. So many weaving traditions in the Philippines that we should be proud of. So much woman power in terms of creativity, discipline, and physical strength. No computers, no machines. Ang dami natin maaring ipagmalaki sa mga habing Pinoy.
Support, support, support! That is the best way that we can ensure that the tradition will live on. We all admire the work of our weavers and designers, but they need to continue producing and improving their craft. And it doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be haute couture. It can start off with, for example, face masks made by our indigenous communities. Here are some of the face masks that I have bought online to show my support and admiration for the weavers of Philippines. And you can support them in a small way too.
As a Filipina and as an ambassador of the NCCA, I am proud to say that I will keep on doing my part to promote our textile traditions. But it will take all of us to make this work. So, show that much needed support and wear that much needed Philippine pride on your bodies.
So, what will we discover next? Well, join me, Kat, a proud Filipina, on the next edition of Kultura 101. Kita kits!